Howdy, y'all. I am making some more of these pretzels, but this time I'm going to add a chocolate drizzle on top. Now, it had been years since I've made these, and my husband reminded me that I used to put a little like chocolate drizzle across them. And so I kind of gave away all the other ones that I made, and I'm going to make some more with the chocolate drizzle because it really is good that way. So I thought I'd kind of show you guys a little bit of what this stuff is. I had a couple comments, people saying they didn't really know what almond bark is. This is real common around the holidays for making candy and stuff. And it's not really white chocolate. It is a vanilla flavored coating. So it's kind of made to make candy with. And on the back, it gives you the melting instructions. You can just melt it in the microwave, or you can do it in a double boiler, or what. And then it shows like little recipes: dip strawberries, dip pretzels, and it gives you a few tips on how to do it. And of course, it's really sweet. It's the let's see, how much are we talking about? A tablespoon of this has 80 calories. Oh, just lots of carbs, lots of sugar. It's candy. So, this is what I'm using. I just broke it into pieces and put it in this bowl right here. Microwaved it for a minute, stirred it, microwaved it for another minute, and it's ready. So, to make these, I'm sorry I'm casting a shadow everywhere. I just take the pretzels and I kind of sort through them, and I don't use the broken ones, and I usually do like 10 at a time. And that way it just kind of keeps me organized on my wax paper, and it also helps me know when I've fished out all the pretzels and there's not any left in there. So I'll put 10 in there. And I used to use chopsticks for this part, which works pretty good if you're good at handling chopsticks. They work pretty good for this part. But I found that this big serving fork is actually perfect. It is like just the right tool for the job because it just fits inside the little holes of the tiny pretzels, and it makes handling them much easier. And I have left this spoon here so I can fish out the pretzel and then bump it on this spoon, and you can see that a lot of the candy coating will come off. I don't like them really heavily coated with the candy. I just want a very thin coating because too much of it's really sweet, and too much of it is kind of overwhelming. And if you just have a thin coating, then it's sweet and it's salty and it's crunchy, and it's not overwhelmingly rich and sweet. So this is how you cover the pretzels. And if your coating gets kind of stiff and it's not draining off as well as you would like it to, because I like it really thin. But of course, if you're wanting to make them really more like candy than pretzels, then you could just leave it on there as thick as it wants to be. Like you could just scoop it down in there and just blop that right on the paper, and it would be super, super sweet. But I like to be sure and get all the extra off like that. So that's what I've got to do for all these pretzels, and I will be back when it's done. Okay, so I've made quite a few, and the level in the bowl has went down. So I microwaved it and for 30 seconds just to kind of make it thin again. And since it's a lot less, I'm only doing 5 at a time now instead of 10 because I don't really want to crowd the bowl. So I will get these 5 immersed down in there. And you can just poke them down in there. You can flip them however you like. And then to get the excess off, I just tap it on my rubber spatula there, which is also really good for scraping down the edges of the bowl. And then I just kind of I've been dragging off the excess like that. I'm also putting them in rows of 10 so that I can easily count them when I'm done. Not that I need a certain amount. I'm just always curious after I do stuff like this of how many it turned out to be. So continuing on, and when it gets, when the coating gets a little cool, you just have to warm it up, and when you're, less than half of the coating less, you want to not put as many items in there. It just seems to work better when you don't crowd the bowl, and maybe that cools it down faster too. I'm not 100%, but it seems like it would. So yeah, you just keep doing this until you've used it all up. It's fairly simple, very straightforward. Actually, it's almost foolproof, but it's time consuming. This isn't something you'd want to do when you were rushed. You would certainly want to do this on, say, a rainy afternoon. Let's see, like today. Look, we have a rainy afternoon today. So I'm spending a little time in the kitchen making some treats. So on we go with the treat making. Same thing over and over again. Poking them in and fishing them back out again. And I definitely recommend tapping them off like this and scraping off the excess, because to me they're really a lot better when they have less of the coating instead of more. Okay, so I'm going to carry on doing this, and when I have all of the coating used up, I will be back. Okay, so I used up almost all of this, and the last little bit that I couldn't really use anymore because my pretzels started getting kind of, I don't know, thick, and you can't really heat just this much because it only, it'll kind of make it start tasting burned. Anyway, so I put it in this little cup, and I'm going to keep it. I'm going to just let it get solid again. And if I make these again, or when I make these again, I'll just add this little block in with the other blocks. And that way I don't waste the very last that was in the bowl. So now I'm going to clean up a little bit, and I'm going to take about, between a quarter and a half a cup of milk chocolate chips and get those melted. It will probably take a minute or maybe less. So that's next. Okay, about a minute in the microwave will turn those chocolate chips into wonderful melty chocolate. If there's still a few lumps, just stick it back in there for 10 or 15 seconds. Okay, so once we get the chocolate melted, I take just a regular Ziploc bag and I open it up and put it down in a coffee cup. Then I'm going to take this melted chocolate and scoop it down into this bag, and then I will twist it up and use the corner of the bag, cut the tip off the corner of the bag and use it as a pastry bag to pipe the chocolate stripes onto the candy. So I'm going to transfer this chocolate into this bag. Okay, so here is the chocolate in my little homemade pastry bag, and I took the scissors and barely cut just the tip off. And now I'm just going to give each one a little bit of a drizzle. It doesn't take much, but it really does make them taste better. And they look kind of prettier too when they got the chocolate drizzle. And you want to be sure and get your chocolate nice and warm because it needs to re-adhere to the pretzel. It'd be good if it kind of melts the almond bark so it sticks on there better. And you want it to stay nice and soft while you're doing this part of it. And if your coffee cup is warm, that helps as well. And you could do this nice and neat make them real pretty. You could do a design on them. In fact, you don't even have to use milk chocolate if you like dark chocolate or semi-sweet chocolate. That would be good. Even probably like butterscotch would be good, or possibly peppermint. Just whatever you like. But we like the almond bark with the milk chocolate. And I've got a little bit left, so I'm going to go back over them again. I don't want to waste this chocolate, and it's not enough to keep. So I'm just going to make sure everybody gets a good... Oh, there we go. Make sure everybody gets a good striping with the chocolate. Can't waste chocolate. It is just not right. Okay, so these just want to set up for not long, like 20-30 minutes tops. Now I always get a piece of this wax paper and put over the top after just a couple of minutes, because I don't want anything drifting down on them. You know, I want them to stay nice and clean and fresh while they're firming up and getting ready to go. But when they're all done, this is the finished product, and the chocolate will be all set up, so you can pop them off of here and then put them in a container. So I made this container for them, but when I was at Dollar Tree, they had these little cute containers, and I got another one that had gingerbread man on it, but I filled it full of the plain ones and gave that to Virginia for Halloween. So when these get all hardened up, I will put them in my containers, and these will be our holiday treats. So thanks for joining me, you guys. I hope you enjoyed this little rainy day little treat making session. And Norma Jean says, thanks for joining, and y'all be sweet.